Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from Brno, Automotodrom Brno. We are back. This is effectively the weekend number 7 of this year's ESETCup series that has been traveling around Central Europe as is usual for the, well, last couple of years at least. And we are here for the traditional Autumn Prix of Brno Masaryk Racing Days here in the Czech Republic, in Moravia. And we are opening yet another beautiful, wonderful racing weekend. My name is Pavel Fabry. I am your commentator for the weekend. And we will get going very shortly with the first race of this event. And it's single-seaters, Formula 3s mostly. As you can see, drivers already onto their formation lap. This is the first part of the weekend that is awaiting us. Lots of entertaining racing action that we can be looking forward to. The usuals, the GTs, the TCRs, also Formula 4, also Renault Clio. But added to that, also the Division 2 of the Central European Zone, and that is a mix of different generations of Formula 3 cars that used to be, way back then, the last step before Formula 1. Since then, we've had another step in between. We used to have the World Series by Renault, we used to have Formula 3000, we used to have GP2, and these days we've got Formula 2 supporting Formula 1, and right below that the official Formula 3. But this is what the Formula 3 used to look like, as I said, way back then. These are various generations of cars in which drivers like, I don't know, Carlos Sainz, Sebastian Vettel, and many, many others, Daniel Ricciardo, so many more, cut their teeth on the motorsport ladder and got themselves up to Formula 1. We are here in the Czech Republic. We've got some of the usuals on the grid. Names like, for example, the local hero, Vašek Šafář, who has already scored multiple podiums here on his home soil. Unfortunately, the quali yesterday for him didn't really work out the best, and he ended up in trouble. His car needed to be brought back to the pits on a flatbed truck, and that means that the Czech driver is actually supposed to start from the absolute back end of the grid. But on the other side, on the other end, we have got Benjamin Berta, Hungarian driver, at the wheel of the Dallara F320, one of the latest generations that we have had before the Dallaras basically switched to Euroformula Open, and before we got the brand new car for the International Formula 3, for the official Formula 3 if you will, which has actually just got the new generation. Maybe you've seen that on the internet, because the Formula 3 supporting F1 has just introduced the new model in Monza last weekend. But let's go back to Brno, because as I mentioned, it is Benjamin Berta on pole position. Alongside him on the front row, it is Kurt Böhlen after yesterday's qualifying, Sandro Zeller and Viktor Smialek in 3rd and 4th. P5, that is the highest placed local driver, Roman Roubíček, in his Euroformula Dallara. Next to him, Marcel Tobler, Andrei Petropoulos, P7, János Magyar in P8, Robert Rowe in P9 from Stefan Glaser, and then Norbert Gröhr, Dr. Norbert Gröhr, yet again starting in his already a little aged but still beautiful Formula Renault 2.0 litres. And then Luca Iannacone and the local driver Vašek Šafář here in the predominantly yellow car. And the red lights are on, the red lights are off, and we are racing here in Brno. 25 minutes of racing action just ahead of us. One of the drivers having already an off-track excursion, dropping 2 wheels on the grass, and we are heading towards the front. The first corner, it is Kurt Böhlen and Sandro Zeller fighting it out for the top spot. Trouble for Benjamin Berta, whom we have at least according to the live timing, down in P9. And down into the second corner, hard under braking. We are making our way towards the end of the first sector here at this 5.4 kilometer racetrack, legendary racetrack that used to be longer than the, I would say, scary and infamous Nordschleife circuit at the Nürburgring in Germany. It used to actually be 1 kilometer longer, but that was, well, really long past history. So it is Kurt Berlin leading. From Sandro Zeller, Roman Robicek seems to have made up a couple of places, and at least the live timing screen showing him up in B3 from Marcel Tobler and Andrei Petropoulos, who's jumped up to P5. Václav Šafář also making up ground after the trouble in yesterday's quali. So from the last on the grid, he seems to already be up to 7th by now. Fight for P3 at the moment between the predominantly yellow Dolaras. And across the line we go to complete the opening lap. It is still Benjamin Berta leading, so it was just a tiny little technical glitch that showed him down in 9th. But it is still Benjamin Berta leading from Viktor Smialek. He made a couple of places, actually 2, and he's up to 2nd from Sandro Zeller and Kurt Berlin, who has dropped it to 4th. Roman Robicek remains in 5th from János Magyar and Vasek Šafář, already up by 6 positions from the starting grid, and he is up to 7th from Marcel Tobler, Andrei Petropoulos in 9th from Robert Rowe, and then Norbert Gröhr, Stefan Glaser, Luca Iannacone down in 13th currently, as we are heading towards the stadium section on lap number 2. That is it. And the infamous local grandstand marked with the letter C, so ESETCup, if you will. So if you go to watch the action from the letter C, as the Czechs say, and that means that place where you can actually watch a couple of corners from one spot, so great viewers' destination. And this is the lowest point of the track, right past the Kevin Schwantz corner, American motorcyclist that had an accident here many years ago. And now snaking through the final S's back onto the start and finish. Benjamin Berta, he was actually so fast off the line and he disappeared from the rest of the grid so quickly that the live timing even had trouble actually displaying him in P1 and showed him as dropped to P9, which was of course a technical glitch. But he was also away from the view. But he's been lapping really quickly, 154.5. That was the first representative lap time, if we disregard the opening lap that is always somewhat slower with the starting procedure, but it is the black and pink car of Benjamin Berta leading 154.5, his fastest lap on the previous tour. Viktor Smialek 155.0, Sandro Zeller 154.8, another driver managing to lap under 1 minute and 55 seconds at the moment. Viktor Smialek just above that barrier. And Kurt Berlin 155.9. Václav Šafář making further ground on his home circuit. P6 as he dealt with János Magyar. So Berta already opening up a 3-second gap in the lead of the race. There he is, dominating the proceedings currently with his F320 Dallara. Trying to use the entire width of the track. And now down to the Kevin Schwann's corner, the infamous right-hander at the bottom of the hill. So you're hard under braking, still descending to the lowest point of the track, and from there it is a massive climb back onto the start and finish straight. Look at these S's and the incredible incline that the drivers and mainly the engines of the cars have to deal with. It is a beautiful track with lots of history. Used to be a long circuit, very dangerous but very famous, that used to lead through the nearby villages on the outskirts of Brno, basically the Moravian capital. And from the start and finish, we're still climbing to reach the highest point of the track, which is actually this place, around turns 3 and 4. And from now on, it is a big descent once again. It's a great use of the local hills. To complete a wonderful racing circuit that has such a nice flow. It's a track that can actually do without the modern elements such as chicanes or really tight hairpins. It's a quick flowing circuit consisting mostly of mid-speed corners that require precision but also allow for a great variety of racing lines. So your attitude towards the timed lap and also to fighting really allows you to open up your creativity, if you will. And that of course attracts so many different styles of overtaking, of defense, and promises great battles for the entire weekend. As usual, this is usually the fitting finale for the championship. Not every championship that we are going to be witnessing here this weekend has actually got its racing finale here, because, for example, the Eastern European TCR is going on past this weekend. They've still got one more round to go in Austria towards the end of September at the Salzburg Ring. So that's where the Eastern European TCR is going to finish. But for a lot of others, it is the final race of the season. This is a nice fight. It's actually one of the international Formula Master cars. Beautiful scrap towards the back end part of the grid. Ooh, another attempt down the inside. That is the Tatu's Formula Master. That's János Magyar driving that car and trying to fight towards the front. Wonderful scrap now into the Kevin Schwann's corner. It's the Hungarian driver succeeding finally after multiple attempts. That was Andrei Petropoulos in the Formula 3 car. That just got overtaken, and we've got also, is it Dr. Norbert Gröhr with the 2-litre Formula Renault? No, it seems to be Stefan Glaser as well in the fight. And Robert Rowe with his Formula 3 machine. And around the final corner we go. János Magyar in his Formula Master car. So he's dealt with the opponents, and he's now driving away with it as we are reaching the halfway mark of the first race of the weekend. Following that with first race of the Formula 4 Central European Zone. Again with a great field of cars for the Czech round. Benjamin Berta in the meantime has extended his leading gap to over 4 seconds from Smialek and Sandro Zeller. So it was actually János Magyar who got ahead of Roman Robíček, and behind those are further Formula 3 cars of Marcel Tobler and Andrei Petropoulos fighting together right now on your screen. From Robert Rowe and Stefan Glaser. "11 minutes left on the clock." I mentioned to you that we have got an entire weekend full of great racing action once again. So right after this race, it's the Formula 4 race number 1 out of 3 in total, as is usual for their race weekends. Then we will be back at noon with the first race of the Renault Clio Cup. Right after that, the first GT Sprint. And then at 2:15, it is the first race of the TCR. And for this weekend, it is actually Eastern European TCR together with TCR Europe joining forces. This is the car number 65 in trouble, and that would be Roman Robíček. Started 5th on the grid. But unfortunately, the race is about to end prematurely for the local driver. For some reason, I didn't really see any damage. For a moment, it appeared to me that the front wing was slightly damaged, but I don't think that was the case in the end. And there might just be technical trouble that are now relegating the local driver back to the pits and out of this race, unfortunately. And just to complete what I was saying, right after the TCR race, right past 3 p.m, we will have the second Renault Clio Cup race. That will be it for that cup for this weekend. So only 2 races, both of them contested today, and we will top off the program at 4:30 with the usual Saturday endurance race of the mixed GT classes. got a huge variety of the Formula 3 cars from different periods. You can see Benjamin Berta in one of the latest generations, actually, before the Formula 3 switched to its official Formula 1 support series. Back then, Formula 3 used to support weekends like DTM, for example, with the Formula 3 Euro Series. We also had Euro Formula Open, which we still have, and we also had, British Formula 4, German Formula 4, Formula 3, Italian Formula 3, etc., etc. So the Formula 3 actually raced pretty much all around the world with these cars, and you used to have a great choice of engine makers as well. So we would have Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, even Honda, Toyota in the Japanese series, which was very, very popular. And at the end of the year, usually we had the race of races, the Formula 3, well, at the end there were two big Formula 3 races in the world. We used to have the Formula 3 Masters at Zandvoort, but also the infamous Macau Grand Prix in Macau, of course, the Juya circuit. And that used to be the race for these kind of cars, for these Dalaras. And if you simply check the list of winners from the past, it is a big name after a big name, a champion behind a champion. So many great drivers that won the race in the past. For example, if I remember well, also Ayrton Senna way back then. So if you're interested in a little bit of that list, if I go really into a long history, it was, for example, Riccardo Patrese scoring a victory twice for Italy in 1977 and 78, one of the longest serving Formula 1 drivers of his era. Then it was also Ayrton Senna winning the Macau Grand Prix for Formula 3 in 1983. Then we had drivers like David Brabham in 1989, Michael Schumacher no less in 1990. A year after that, David Coulthard, 1991, or we had the latter touring car legend Jörg Müller. Also Ralf Schumacher scored a victory in Macau in 1995. Then we had drivers like Takuma Sato in 2001 before he joined the Formula 1 field the following year. We had current and past Le Mans legends Nicolas Lapierre, Alexandre Prema, Lucas Di Grassi, Mike Conway. We also had Eduardo Mortara winning that twice in a row in 2009 and 10. And from the drivers known a little more from the current motorsport years, it's Dan Ticktum, Richard Verschoor, or for example last year Luke Browning, but that was already in the Dallara F3 2019 machine. So a different monster, different car than these Dallaras that we are watching right now. We've got a variety of them actually. As I mentioned, Benjamin Berta in the F320. But if you check through the field, we've got lots of different other ones that go way into history. We've got a couple of F316s driven, for example, by Kurt Kurlan or Viktor Smialek. But we've got, and if I just check, we've got F314 in the hands of Stefan Glaser. We've got F312 in the hands of Robert Rowe. We've got a couple of 308s, and for example Marcel Tobler driving that one. And we've got the car as as old as F306. At least entered in the hands of Sedin Vujagic, whom we actually do not have in the race today. Roman Robicek, having got to the pits, has not rejoined the race, so remains in the pit lane, and that means basically game over for the local driver. It is still Benjamin Berta leading, although live timing is sometimes playing a little havoc with me and dropping names up and down. This is a fight. It's actually not a fight because it's Dr. Norbert Kröhr being lapped currently. His 2-litre Formula Renault being somewhat slower than the Formula 3 cars of any era. So we have got Benjamin Berta in the lead by about 7 seconds from Viktor Smialek and Sandro Zeller, which would be your podium scoring positions for the moment. Behind them Kurt Böhlen, Václav Šafář up to P5 already. Fantastic race from the Czech driver. He's replaced Roman Robicek in the 5th spot as currently the top scoring Czech driver on the home circuit. János Magyar in his Formula Master in P6 from Andrei Petropoulos, Marcel Tobler, Robert Rowe, Stefan Glaser completing the top 10 currently, and we have got just over 2 minutes left on the clock with the lap times, or with the circuit being lapped in around 1:56 now. And where is Benjamin Berta? Is he across the line already or not? I don't quite think so. I think he is just about to do that, which would mean, yeah, 1:56.4. And one of the yellow cars slowing down significantly. But just checking the time, this might very well be the... Is it going to be the final lap of the race? Or is the live timing screen sleeping a little bit? No, this is not the race leader. It's one of the older Formula 3 cars, but we're looking for that black and pinkish car. That is your race leader. There he is, there we go. So we are on the final lap of the race. Benjamin Berta correcting a tiny little slip mid through the corner. Now through the Kevin Schwantz right-hander, and we are beginning to ascend once again towards the finish line. 20 seconds left, so we are presumably on the final lap of the race. It's going to be tight, but I think that this will be it. Dying seconds of the race, first race of the weekend here in Brno. Around the final corner we go. The time is up right now, and it is Benjamin Berta scoring the first victory of the weekend here at Masaryk Circuit. Viktor Smialek coming home in second from Sandro Zeller. A close fight for second. Just 0.8, even 0.6 actually across the line between the two. My life timing sleeping a tiny little bit once again. Kurt Böhlen finishing in fourth, having had a rather slow final lap of the race. And then the local driver Vašek Šafář coming home fifth from last on the grid. So that was a beautiful display of speed and talent. Behind him János Magyar, Andrei Petropoulos, Marcel Tobler, Robert Rowe, Stefan Glaser, Luca Iannacone and Dr. Norbert Gröhr, and the only one, Roman Robicek, not actually finishing the race, having retired 4 laps from home. So there is your race winner. Ooh, we've got one of the cars facing the wrong way. That's the car number 4. Robert Rowe. What is Robert doing? He's trying to get his car going again, but he's in trouble. That is the uphill section, and Robert Rowe trying to correct his car and the direction that he's facing, but he seems to have spun in the uphill section, and he's now trying to crawl back down. Now he's power slided it. So this is the highlights from race number 1 here in Brno. So that is it from the first race of the weekend, with Benjamin Berta scoring a victory from Viktor Smialek and Sandro Zeller completing the podium here in Brno. And we're going to show you the graphic confirmation of the results. There we go, and with that will be it for the race number 1, but we will be back shortly with the first race of 3 of Formula 4 Central European Zone, so make sure that you do not miss that.